Hello everyone and welcome to Of Bricks and Dragons. Today we are working on looking at the Lego set 42147. This is another Technic set. I had picked up a couple of these. I believe this is the last Technic set that I actually have. And like I had said before in one of my other videos, I was going with just the smaller sets because they do work a lot better with the Lego minifigures. So if I'm trying to put these into my city, it works out pretty good. So what we have is we have a little transport truck. Actually, there's some pretty neat Technic features that they have in this as we look at it here. We do have doors that open. Let's see here, because I know they open. No, they don't, because it's got that piece on there. I was thinking they open because when I was first playing with it and I didn't have that bricked in, I could open this all the way up. The only downfall is for doing the Technic is I really can't get the figure in there, but you know, if I just have it sitting in the city, it doesn't really matter anyways. I can always just take that as it's just one of those vehicles. Looking at the scale wise though, it does fit very well. So as far as that goes, it's not a big deal. Even with looking at my other ones, they fit in pretty good. So it gives me a different transport truck. Not a problem. I can always throw something in the back. I'm sure I've got a couple things that are floating around my city that I could throw in the back there, so that'll work, not a problem. Because this is Technic, and then they give us some different options. And you'll notice that there's a little bit of extra build inside the cab, and what that's for is that gives us our steering here. So I can actually steer the truck around. I can back it in or whatever. So they give us some steering mechanism here, and it works really well. And it is kind of built up here to make it go all the way through the back of the cab. But it is pretty neat to be able to sit here and say, okay, I actually have a truck I can steer a little bit and that. Not one of the things I'm normally used to, mainly because I just typically stay with the other traditional sets. So I don't normally get the steering function. And then the other thing is we have a dump box. Now the dump box is actually on kind of a Technic setup. I don't know if you wanted to call it a gimbal. I don't know if that would be actually the correct term for this or not. But it does actually have a arm that would force it to go back and dump. So if you're looking for more of a dump truck set, so I could put this into my little cave excavation where they're kind of mining some stuff, this would work fairly well in there. It is a very nice and solid. It only has the one bar in here, but it is fairly solid. That's not a really major deal. And with the wheels turning in that, we really can't have that much extra stuff here because it's just going to get in the way. And this is, you know, Lego. Lego does a really good job, I would say 99.9% of the time, trying to make sure everything is pretty good. So if you're sitting there with a child that's playing with this, this works really well. Keeps a very good imaginative play. Things work fairly well. I don't think it's going to be a big issue. And this is what they build themselves off of, you know, trying to appease for the kids and all that. And then, of course, then there's us eternal children that just never seem to grow up. But it is a very nice set. Looks pretty good. You know, what would be kind of nice is if somehow, some way, if they ever figure out how to get like a glass windshield to kind of pop in here. I don't know how you would do that either. The only piece in here that I could think maybe allowing you to do that is we have one piece in the middle here and then a piece up here in the middle that maybe it could be bridged and fill that gap. But I'm sure with all these different builds, you'd have to have a lot of different you'd always have to customize that windshield. You'd never be able to have a set size there. So as far as that goes, I guess it's just one of those things we have to just kind of live with. But, you know, being used to having a windshield in for all the other vehicles and that, you know, it would be kind of nice, but, you know, I get it. But still, it is kind of a fun thing, you know, having the Technic, so you can kind of use that as a dump box and you can dump things out. I know as an adult, yeah, you know, I sometimes I'll grab these things and just play with them. One of the more popular things I've done in the past when my daughters were younger is I actually have the old, at this point old, from the Force Awakens, the transport, and it had a Technic feature where the ramp comes down. So this would be the same thing, and you could, I'd try to make it talk and make my girls laugh a little bit. It's all for the jokes here. Always just trying to have some fun. The world is serious enough. We can be serious when we have to, but it's kind of nice to just be silly in that. So, but having something that's really a good size for, I guess I have some rabbits disagreeing with me. Something that's really a good size for the Lego minifigure scale. This works pretty good. It did come in 2 books, so when you're putting it together, you have book 1, and I don't remember how many bags we had. I think it was like 4 bags, and you had to dump all of them out at the same time. But as we were getting through it, we get done with book 1, and this is pretty much, we got the base frame done, and we're starting a little bit on the cab, and we already have the steering mechanism for the tires, for the front tires, that is. And then by the time we get done with 2, of course, then it's fully done. And there are a couple stickers here. So we have 1, 2, so that's 4, because those are on the back side. And then, of course, we have our license plate, and we have for the grill and just above the grill there. So not a lot of stickers, but there's a couple stickers to give it a little flair. And of course, we don't have a license plate on the back. We do have tail lights, though. They did give us some tail lights, and they're just out of the way, so that works out pretty well. So doing something like this gives me a little bit of different ideas for other things to build if I'm trying to do a mock build or something else, which I do a little bit here and there, and I know you guys have seen me do some of them, especially when I had redone my aircraft carrier and a couple other things. So sometimes it's kind of fun to say, hey, I've got an idea and I know I have some parts here or something, or sometimes I see something in the store that says, I've got an idea with that. And then sometimes I have that idea and it just doesn't work out. It just turns out horribly. So I'm not always the best. Sometimes things work out good for me. And sometimes I look at it and says, yeah, that really was not very good. So it's a small set. It's a small video here today. Thank you so very much for joining me, for sitting around the pool table and seeing the silliness that we get into. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.